Subwoofers hammer the warehouse floor until bolts creep from the sockets and dust jumps along every beam. A bass wave crosses the chamber, flexing steel doors inward. Glass blocks shatter inside, motor joints hanging, lamps swinging, widening circles. Each kick strikes the ribs like machinery, forcing breath from packed bodies. Deep frequency strikes through bone and steel. Different limits push it inside the chamber. Deep frequency strikes through bone. Resonance finds a weak seam behind the stage. Panels buzz, pipes shake, and a long crack races across the plaster. The next drop arrives as a wall of pressure, bending rails and punching loose fragments into the crowd. Deep frequency, single direction allows no hesitation. Push through the sonic impact while the whole structure vibrates around us. Bass fractures glass, shockwaves slam the doors, and every returning frequency digs deeper into concrete. We ride the pressure together until the loudest pulse breaks the barrier ahead. Deep frequency strikes through. A feedback tone climbs above the drums and drills through ceiling plates. Speaker stacks crawl across the floor despite chained wheels. In the rear corridor, tiles burst from the wall as reflected waves collide. The crew ducks, splintering fixtures, braces against the bar and advances between impacts while compressed sound pounds metal partitions into warp shapes, making the building shudder like a struck container under relentless force. Deep frequency strikes. The beat cuts, but vibration remains inside the frame. Loose screws dance over counters, lungs wait under compressed silence. Then the kick returns twice as hard, and the weakened partition explodes outward through a cloud of dust. Deep frequency strikes. Hammer the chamber with disciplined volume. Turn every reflected wave against the obstruction. Concrete chips rain down, steel shutters buckle, and bodies move inside the pressure. No fragile surface remains when the final low frequencies drives clean through the wall. Deep frequency strikes through bone and steel with relentless pressure. Echoes roll through the breach partition while shattered glass settles, and the crew walks out beneath speakers still shaking on their chains. Deep frequency strikes.
There are babies already.
Blue arcs lead between exposed bus bars inside the flooded utility vault. Voltage needles twitch without rhythm. Fluorescent tubes snap bright and cable tray spit sparks across wet concrete. A breaker closes, opens, and welds itself halfway. Static claws through headsets while current finds fresh paths along damaged rails. White arcs crawl across copper rails as voltage surges through the damaged junction. White arcs crawl across copper rails as voltage. Yeah, charge crawls over metal cabinets and jumps the narrow gaps between tools. Insulators crack under repeated spikes. A transformer kicks against its frame. The crew steps between flashes, reading each irregular pulse before another arc cuts across the aisle. White low streets gather a restless crowd, drive through the interference and hold the live network against every violent spike. Circuits howl, white arcs slash the floor, and noise buries clean readings. We isolate the fall by hand, shoulder to shoulder, before unstable current tears the entire vault apart. White arcs, a severed conductor whips against the pipe and paints the chamber with branching fire control screens filled with crawling bands. Frequency meters swing past safe marks. One worker hooks the cable clear while another kills a feeder, but induced charge returns through the grounding mesh. Boots lit from wet patches as the crew traces the rogue surge toward a scorched junction where cross phases hammer each other without release. White for half a beat, every lamp dies. Stored charge remains inside the cabinet, silent and lethal. Then an arc punches from the junction box, revealing the fault line. Insulated hands close around the final disconnect and pull together. White arcs, cut through corrupted current, lock the unstable phases apart and make the violent network answer to us. Sparks break the walls, meters jump, let the crew never breaks contact. One clean switch ends the interference before the next surge can strike. White arcs crawl across copper rails as voltage surges. Residual charge snaps once across the dark vault, then silence settles over cooling cables and blackened panels beneath the crew's boots. White arcs crawl across.
A bit early there.
Yeah. Hydraulic arms jerk beyond the program stops, slamming empty clamps into the assembly rail. Conveyor belt belts reversed without warning. Scatter parts beneath rotating cutters. Indicator board show conflicting commands. Emergency buttons trigger faster motion instead of shutdown. Workers die behind cages as a carriage breaks its limits, switching races toward the wall. Runaway motors strike past limits while false signals drive steel into chaotic motion. Runaway motor strike. Nothing answers the panel correctly. Valves open against clotheslines. Sensors report impossible positions, and the main drive accelerates after power is cut. Crew watches patterns dissolve into random violent motion across the floor. Runaway motors strike past limits. The result belongs to those who stay. Stand inside the malfunction and force a route through machines that ignore every command. Arms swing while belts reverse and safety logic disappears. We move by instinct, pull each other clear, and shut the rogue line down piece by piece. Runaway motor strike. A robotic welder fires toward an empty station, carving bright scars across the guard mesh. Lift tables rise beneath loaded pallets, tilt and dump steel housings into the eye. One operator reaches a manual valve while others wedge a runaway trolley against the column. Alarms contradict each other, motors restart independently. The crew stops trusting displays and follows physical motion, reading each violent deviation before it strikes. Runaway motor strike. Spindle pauses at the top of its cycle, then rotates backward. That impossible turn reveals the faulty relay bank. Two workers crawl beneath the platform, rip the control cable free, and brace for whatever continues moving without instruction. Runaway. Break every road connection until unpredictable motion loses its power. Machines kick warning lights slide, yet the crew adapts faster than the fall can strike. We survive by watching steel, not screens, and cutting each violent mechanism at its source. Runaway motor strike past limits while false signals drive steel. One final actuator pushes against its stop, and the workshop falls still around. Scattered parts, bent cages, and smoking control boxes. Runaway motor strike. Yeah. Armor shutters descend across the underground junction, separating stairwells from the main concourse. Magnetic locks clamp freight doors inside reinforced frames. Exit signs point toward welded griller service hatches reject every key. Concrete partitions divide the crew into narrow feed and expose who poison every trust record. Forged entries redirect crews, duplicate voices, issue orders, and clean facts vanish beneath noise. We rebuild the chain from physical proof before deception controls the district. Forge records multiply through trusted. A backup server restores the same altered ledger after technicians delete it. Facial matches attach innocent workers to fabricated incidents. Gate logs, approved badges never printed. One torn receipt contradicts the entire archive. The crew follows fuel stains, crate damage, and witness marks beyond the screens, constructing a parallel timeline that no hidden editor touched. Meanwhile, contaminated files spread outward, teaching connected systems to repeat the manufactured lie. Forge records. One analog camera holds a missing minute on magnetic tape. Its image breaks the polished fiction. The number truck entered before the database claims it existed. Hands copy the evidence offline while false alerts flood every monitored channel. Forge records. Trace every corrupted entry back to the hand that changed it. Screens argue, records mutate, but physical evidence keeps its way. We lock the authentic chain outside the infected network and turn manufactured confusion against the people who built it. Forge records multiply through trusted channels. A static buries the correct and manifest center, a sealed cabinet. Block compromised terminals keep flashing lies that nobody in the crew will follow again. Forge records multiply through trusted. Turbo housings whistle. Turbo housings whistle beneath the hood as the convoy enters the empty arterial at full throttle. Lane markers blur under spinning tires. Exhaust snaps against tunnel walls. Each gear lands harder, driving shoulders in the seats while concrete divider stream past inches away. Engines climb beyond the safe band and refuse to settle. Engines climb harder through black lanes as inertia drives the convoy forward without mercy. Engines climb harder through. Speed stacks upon speed. The leg car crosses 3 lanes before the mirrors catch up, and the rest follow through the shrinking gap. Tires bite, suspensions compressed, and every machine launches toward the bridge approach without lifting. Engines climb harder, restraint crashes in a raw momentum. Break the limit and turn forward, force into an unstoppable strike. Engines climb guardrails, streak past, and every gear multiplies the pressure behind us. We hold formation through the narrowing lanes until speed becomes the weapon that opens the route. Engines climb harder through black. The bridge rises ahead while warning signs flash across the gantry. Nobody brakes, boost gauges jump, tailpipes flare against black pavement. A stalled truck blocks the center lanes, forcing the convoy into a split maneuver at impossible velocity. Cars pass on both sides, reconnect beyond the obstacle and surge downhill as inertia pulls harder than steering, carrying the crew toward a concrete toll barrier, closing across their paths. Engines climb for one compressed instant. Wheels seem weightless over the crest, and gravity returns hard enemy. Yeah. The lead driver angles toward the service gap, and every vehicle follows before the barrier can finish, dropping into place. Engines climb harder through. Drive past the final warning and keep the accelerating line welded together. Tires scream, brain flex, yet nobody releases the throttle. We convert every ounce of forward pressure into distance until the locked avenue breaks open beneath the convoy. Engines climb harder through black lanes as inertia drives the convoy. Rotors burn away. Be beyond the last junction while the convoy disappears west, still gaining speed through the empty industrial lanes. Engines climb harder through.
Let's not be serious.
Silence packs the basement chamber tighter than concrete. A steel cable strains above the suspended platform. Every twist of strand carrying more weight than its rating. Nobody speaks. Dust hangs motionless near the vents while a pressure needle crawls toward red. Even breathing sounds dangerous beside the locked release valve. Seal pressure builds behind steel plates while every nerve holds tight inside silence. Seal pressure builds behind steel plates while every the ceiling lowers by a fraction, enough to make bolts complain inside the plates. Fingers hover over tools. One wrong impact could unload everything at once. Yet waiting adds more force behind the sealed partition with every second. Seal pressure. Take the room as the doors prepare to shut. Hold the compressed line until the exact second pressure becomes useful. Walls creak, cables tighten, and the sealed chamber stores violence inside silence. We keep our nerves hard, then strike one chosen seam before the entire enclosure bursts around us. Seal. A hairline crack appears beside the pressure housing and stops. The crew watches it without moving, counting the slower pulses beneath the flaw. Sweat cuts through concrete dust. Jaws remain locked. A distant valve knocks once, then twice. Every sound feels amplified inside the packed space. When the gauge touches its final mark, hands close around the breaker bar, prepared to release the built force along a controlled path. Seal. Stillness reaches its limit. The platform dips, a mountain plate bends, and air whistles through the first split. Nobody flinches. The crew has waited for this exact weakness, storing its own aggression behind disciplined breath. Steel pressure builds behind steel. Drive the accumulated force to one narrow seam and keep every shoulder braced. The chamber box steel cable snap tight, but the pressure finally moves where we aimed it. Control balance opens the wall without breaking the formation inside. Steel pressure builds behind steel plates while every nerve holds tight. Compressed air tears through the breach, scattering dust across the floor as the crew steps out. before the strain ceiling follows. Steel pressure builds behind. Chrome units advance across the tile hall in identical intervals, heels landing on the same mark with mechanical precision. Faces remain blank beneath white lamps. Each body turns at the same angle, it's the same hand and stops beside number panels. Overhead clocks click together while doors open by sequence. Never early, never late, measure figures pivot across white tiles with exact timing. Undergo mechanical precision, measure figures pivot. Rows compressed in the narrower files without a word. A pulse from the ceiling resets every posture. Heads rotate, arms lower and measure steps resume. Individual rhythm disappears beneath the exact repetition. Governing the polished chamber, measure figures pivot across white. Tactical leader owns the private room, cut across the formation and challenge the cold pattern, controlling every position. Lines advance, pivots repeat, and number gates divide the floor. We introduce one human irregularity, then watch flawless precision fracture across the synchronized ranks. Measure figures pivot across white tiles with at station 12 nation collapses because loyalty needs no numbered position to remain aligned. Measure figures pivot across white tiles with exact timing under cold mechanical. Clocks continue clicking above abandoned marks while the crew exits through rows of motionless units. Frozen between conflicting instructions. Measure figures pivot across white tiles.
That ability's already.
Shoulders grind against concrete and breath turns hot between rays on to show the barricade travels backward through hundreds of people. Rails bend, bottles burst and boots lose contact with the pavements. Once triggers another surge, the pack column swings sideways, crushing signs and scattering guards. Pack shoulder strike hard against rails while crowd pressure rolls through every opening. Pack shoulder strike hard. Travels faster than warning. A fallen barrier becomes a random weapon. Then no bunny, Jenny, trampling feet, elbow strike ribs, backs hit walls, and the front ranks cannot slow the mass. Driving from behind through the narrowing tunnel, pack shoulders blind the device, watching our move, cut the signal at the pack district. They rub beyond prediction. Crowds collide, no flashing lamps, barricades spin, and every surge multiplies through the avenue. We stay linked at the center, forcing a path while panic tears every plan. Formation of point, back shoulders strike. Police line fractures when the second wave hits from the station stairs. Vendors drag carts aside, window shutter under pounding hands. The mob spits around the bus, reconnects beyond it. Hands toward the square with greater force. Friends grip sleeves to avoid separation as uncontrolled bodies pour from side streets, turning every intersection into a rotating knot of impact. Noise and rumble, momentum, pack shoulders strike hard against. Nobody commands the mass now. A single stumble redirects 50 bodies. A slam gate sends the next wave. Nova steel at the core. The crew lower shoulders and moves diagonally, refusing to be crushed by the chain reaction. Packed drive through the collision without losing a single hand. The avenue bugs beneath, running feet barriers disappear. Fresh bodies flood every opening. Chaos owns the edges, but loyalty holds the center while the uncontrolled surge tears itself across the block. Pack shoulders strike hard against rails while crowd pressure. Distant sirens drown beneath thousands of steps as the crew breaks from the crush and leaves the avenue, boiling behind them. Strike hard, strike. Cooling fans scream inside the service rack while warning lamps flicker from amber to red. Heat ripples above pack processors, soda softens beneath vent slots, and the main console drops commands faster than operators can clear them. Gauges hit their stops. A pump stutters under maximum low burnt insulation sharpens the room. Hot bearings grind beneath red warnings. White lotus shafts fight against their limits. Hot bearings grind beneath red. Every buffer feels that Tread belts drag and the turbine housing shakes against its mounts. The crew pulls emergency levers, but fresh alarms stack across the panel as temperature climbs toward the failure mark. Hot bearings, grind beneath. Recover the location data they remove. Force the overloaded grid to yield before its core burns through. Warning lights flood the console, fans choke in metal housing tremble under impossible demand. We cut dead weight, reroute the strain and keep the crew working inside the red zone. Hot bearings grind. A coolant pipe knocks against the ceiling as pressure punches through. We conceal steam, blends the west style. Roller seas along the feed line. Operators drag portable vents between cabinets, kick warp panels free. An isolated smoking converter. The machinery answers with grinding shafts and uneven pulses. Each cycle slower than the last. Yet the crew strips excess low before fatigue turns the entire plant into wreckage. Hot bearings need to stop climbing because their needles cannot travel farther beneath the noise. One bearing changes pitch. Everyone hears the approaching failure device. The remaining work and drives the system through a brutal shutdown sequence before the casing ruptures. Bearings hold the line at maximum strain. Drop every useless circuit and protect the working core. Heat claws through glows, alarms overlap, but disciplined hands keep moving. Survive the limit by cutting pressure faster than the failing machines can rebuild it. Bearings grind beneath red warnings while loaded shaft. Fans wind down unevenly as red lamps fade, leaving scorched panels, warp seals, and the crew still standing beside the silent line. Hot bearings grind. Can't deliver beams. Split above the loading base, concrete joints spit dust across tilted floors. Support columns buckle near the freight lifts and the ceiling panels down in jagged sheets. Workers bar broken rails while staircases peel from cracked landings. Each impact shifts the chamber sideways, and another suspended platform drops through the widening gap. Masonry twisted girders plunge hard through dust and hammering debris below fractured masonry. Twisted girders, rebar screams inside the walls. Boots skid toward the fractured edge. A central brace bends past recovery, dragging cables, lamps, and ductwork downward. Nobody waits for a safe route because the remaining span is already folding beneath them. Fractured masonry. No order survives or refuse to break through. Falling levels with shoulders locked in teeth set. Pillar snap behind the slabs, hammer the floor, and every block passage becomes debris beneath our advance. We carry the crew across the last intact beam before the whole frame caves. Fractured masonry twisted. Upper walkway shear from the anchors and crash through storage decks below. A crane rail twists loose, carbon sparks along the broken ceiling. Pallets slide toward an open shaft while the crew crosses on a warp service bridge. Behind them, masonry bursts outward, both scatter like shot, and the west wall collapses into the yard, crushing every route they just abandoned. Fractured masonry, twisted girders plunge hard through dust. For one hot second, the wreck hangs overhead, then a cracked truss rotates, opening a narrow line through the rubble. Hands grab jackets, bodies move together, and the crew drives across before gravity finishes, tearing the structure apart. Fractured masonry. Strike through the breach while the foundation rolls beneath our feet. Steel folds, concrete bursts, and the final supports lose their grip. Nobody breaks formation. Every fallen section marks the distance already taken until open ground replaces the ruined frame behind us. Fractured masonry, twisted girders plunge hard through dust.